Okay, great. So today, hello everyone, my name is Ari and I'll be talking about a fair approach to data and machine learning using FuncX. And I'm with Globus Labs at the University of Chicago. Whoops, and will it change slides for me? There we go, okay. As I'm sure we're all familiar, data and machine learning are becoming key drivers of scientific progress. Here we have the percentage of machine learning publications in material science, chemistry, and physics. And we can see there's been dramatic growth in the number of publications in the last 5 to 6 years alone, with the publications about doubling from 2019 to 2020 by itself. So we have lots of machine learning models out there and lots of data, but what can we actually do with them? How can we utilize these machine learning gains in our own research? So if you want to reproduce the work from a given study, first we have to ask ourselves a few questions. First, where is the code? Is it easy to find? Is it linked in the papers that are published? Second, where are the trained models and where are the data? Are they published at all in the first place? And then once again, are they easy to locate? And then once you can locate them, how can you actually reproduce the results? I'm sure we've all experienced this, but sometimes you'll go and try to reproduce the model from a paper. And even if they have their GitHub code up, it can be hard to actually run the code on your own machine. And if you can run it, sometimes the results differ from the studies, depending on the hyperparameters you used, the architecture of your machine, et cetera. So without answers to all these questions, the progress that we can make as a research community is dramatically slowed down. And so we want our models and our data to be fair, that is findable, accessible, interoperable, so we can use it across platforms, and reusable. Because otherwise, all of these models and all this great research that's being done just kind of winds up in the trash because we can't do anything with it, which is really sad. Our team has created DL Hub for FAIR models. DL Hub is the data and learning hub for science, which is one central location to find, share, publish, and run machine learning models or functions in the cloud. And it's built on top of FuncX. So let's say we have a user wants to publish their machine learning model that they have. In Python, we can take any Python model developed in TensorFlow or Keras or PyTorch or any just like singular Python function, even if you just wanted to publish like a hello world. They would submit their model. And then on the back end, we create containers and we register the containers and the functions with FuncX. And this is all abstracted from the user. And which then become accessible to the user via the SDK, via our convenient API. And the models get published in our nice model catalog that's easy to search from a user's perspective. And then any user can come and look for a model or function within the catalog, either using dlhub.org, our nice UI, or using the SDK. And they can also run the model in the cloud. So they could find the model in the cloud and then run it. And when they run it under the covers, DL Hub uses FuncX for all of our model inference. So calling dlhub.run is just like calling funcx.run. As an example, let's say we want to evaluate the model from this paper by Chokar et al. To run it, we just need to call dlhub.run, which again calls FuncX underneath, and pass in the actual model name that we take that we would like look up in the catalog, and any inputs it needs in this case, just this looks like a NumPy array. And then we can get back our nice results and easily just, with some lines of matplotlib, plot them and move on with our research. So DL Hub supplies both the computational environment as well as the resources for the user so that all of that is handled for them. Just kind of a peek at what we're doing with the containers on the back end. So our DL Hub server monitors for requests and creates a Docker container where we install our FuncX endpoint software, as well as like other necessary packages. And we have all the files necessary to run the model or function within the container. So some are user specified, like this would, for example, is the actual model code that a user published along with their serialized model file and the requirements for the environment. And then everything else is generated by DL Hub on the back end. And we then register the container and a special function that we have called DL Hub Run with FuncX. And DL Hub Run takes a config file that's generated for each user's, what we call like a servable, so their model or their function. And we create a like usable servable from that config file for every single publication that we have here. So FuncX runs this one function for everyone, but this special config file will specify like exactly all the parameters needed for the user's particular function or model that they're publishing. And let's see, anything else to share here? And then this all goes into the search catalog, as I've mentioned previously. And critically, you could deploy your own FuncX endpoint somewhere else, and it would allow you to run models there as well. And then on top of, so that was all DL Hub and kind of how that works. But we thought that we would love to build on that a little more and incorporate data as well. So we are working on the project Foundry. The goal is to reduce the barrier to entry for curated data sets and models for machine learning. And so kind of similarly, I'm just gonna go through this really quickly. Kind of similarly, we have users that want to publish data and then also publish models through DL Hub. And the idea is that Foundry would allow users to do both in a very easy and accessible way, where they could once again run models in the cloud on our distributed endpoints, and then could easily like load data from within Foundry, and then run it on a model that's hosted within DL Hub, kind of under the covers. And just quickly get your predictions out for really fast and reproducible science. And that's it. So thank you very much. If I went through that a little quickly, so if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Abby. I have a quick question for you while we wait for other questions. Can you tell me a little bit about like how the container problem is managed? Because we have Docker that's supposed to be a huge range of places. Some places support Singularity, some places do Shifter. Like how does DL Hub manage this?
So I'm going to start answering and let me know if I'm actually answering your question or if I misinterpreted it. So we use Repo to Docker to actually build Docker containers out of whatever the user publishes to DL Hub. So we take like the whole folder that they publish and try to use that to kind of create just like a base level of reproducibility, if that makes sense. I don't know, Brian, if you had any thoughts on like other containers, kinds of containers that we were thinking of using. Right now it's all Docker.
Yeah, so it's mostly sort of future direction where we're working with researchers at Wisconsin to build out a container service, which is hopefully going to plug into FuncX quite nicely so the wider community can take advantage of this. But that'll allow us to take our DL Hub Docker containers and convert them to Singularity or Shifter sort of on demand and stage them off to whatever FuncX endpoint we're trying to run at.